This takes us to now. My parents I didn't realise this, but my parents, especially because I was at my worst in 2017, my parents were they knew I went to the doctors and I was having, you know, no one was helping me. I felt like I was on my own, even though I was surrounded by people that care about me, and I felt truly alone. So they had emailed the Speakmans and they just said, you know, bring her along to one of our workshops. Obviously you have to buy a ticket, but don't ever let the price put you off, because I don't think I could put a price on what I experienced yesterday. My mum, dad and me all attended the event in Elstree. So it's about like, it took us like 40 minutes from where I live, but we did leave super early. We went there and got breakfast. I think you could like register at 8:30 and then it went on to 5:30. For those who are interested about the workshop and not sure what it is, they do ask that you don't film it, so I haven't got any clips for you, but what I can tell you is I think there was around 100 people, 120 people. We were all on tables. Some people were there on their own, some people were there with family. So literally there was people of all different jobs, all different ages, all different everything. Everyone had something different, and I think that's what's amazing, because they managed to help so many people. So they have videos, they have talks, they interact with the audience, they show you. I watched someone get over their fear of spiders, and by listening to it, my mum actually then went and held a spider and she was petrified. Like if she said a spider, she'd scream, she'd dream, and she'd start sleep talking and going, there's a spider up there. Like she has done that before. She was absolutely petrified. But by sitting there and watching someone get over their fear and listening to the, you know, the tools that they give you and just everything. In one of the breaks, they were like, you know, we have the spider over there. If anyone wants to try and conquer it, then they can go and hold it over there. And my mum was like, I'm gonna do it. And she held that spider and she was like, it is beautiful. And I was like, wow, I never thought I'd hear my mum say that about a spider. But she did. And then she actually went back and held it again. And we're going to see how she handles it when the spider's actually in her home. But the fact that she held that, I'm so proud of her. And just watching people pour their heart out. And, you know, I'm not repeating any of the stories that I heard, because that is not my place. And I really hope everyone from there respects that. Blah, blah, blah. It was just incredible. And Nick and Eva are so lovely. You see them on This Morning. And you know, some people you think, oh, it's an act. They are not. They are just as genuine as they come across on TV. They're such lovely people, and they were so invested in the whole thing. So when it was a 5-minute break, they might run for a wee, but they'll be back talking to people. And they said, we are not leaving here until we talk to everyone. So even at the end, I queued for 45 minutes to get a photo and say thank you, because I actually spoke to her in the lunch break time. But I didn't want to waste, I didn't want to not waste, but I didn't want to use up anyone else's time when I'd already spoken to them. So I had a picture. My mum was like, thank you so much. And the fact that they would have clearly had like another hour of those people queuing up, and they were there the whole time. And I think that's truly remarkable, because you think, oh, they'll probably like be off in their own little room. No, they stayed there and they interacted with every single person. So yeah, I went and spoke to Eva. I wasn't bothered. I didn't have a preference of who I spoke to. I just wanted to speak to one of them. And the whole time they kept saying throughout the thing, you know, you need to find that point, your trigger. We can try and find it. By knowing that trigger, you can help yourself. And I knew what my trigger was. Losing my grandparents was my trigger, and everything else that happened after that, the times where I was anxious about going on heights and, you know, roller coasters, and thinking I'm going to lose all my family, and, you know, my OCD tendencies, was a symptom, all leading back to that trigger. And I know I mentioned at the beginning about what their workshop was called. It's about schemers. So I always said to her, you know, I know what my trigger was, and it was losing my grandparents. And from that, and I'm not sure what I said. I think I just blurted everything out to her, and I was sobbing. And she just said to me, Sophie, this is paraphrasing, by the way, because I was crying, and this is pretty much what she said. And she was not stern, but she knew exactly what she was talking about. And that's all I ever wanted, someone who knew what they were talking about, just to tell me. So she said, Sophie, 10-year-old Sophie created that schema when you lost your grandparents of, okay, this is happening, and you're very anxious in a situation because you're young, you don't know how to control a situation, you're so small, you've never had this before. I know I had never lost anyone until that point. So 10-year-old Sophie was trying to cope with something and created this schema when you was anxious and upset and sad and just all of these emotions that a 10-year-old created this schema. And as I've got older and as I've got anxious and as I relate to certain situations, my brain looks back and is like, okay, we're feeling anxious, let's go back to that schema when you was when you can't get my words out, when you was anxious. And you would think it would update, because just like anything, like when you save a document, it would update. Now it was updating, but it was updating as 10-year-old Sophie, because it was going back to that schema of, okay, we're upset, we're anxious, and this is what we do, this is the coping mechanisms that we have developed to handle situations. Like a 25-year-old Sophie, which is Sophie now, when she was having anxiety attacks, when she was feeling anxious, when she was nervous, when she was having panic attacks, she was reverting back to a 10-year-old state. Myself and my boyfriend bought our house 2 years ago. A lot of my OCD tendencies got worse, and you've got to think, so I'm thinking I'm moving out, I'm moving away from home, I'm going to be away from my family, I can't handle it. But what, going back to that schema, so 10-year-old Sophie's probably thinking like, right, how do we handle this situation? And I'm letting a 10-year-old dictate to me how I should feel, and that is why that was my trigger. And I need to tell her to be quiet, because she can't run my life anymore. And that was like a paraphrase of everything, but that's what it came down to. My nan died of lung cancer, and she was going to the doctors, and they were like, no, she's just been a bit dramatic, she's fine, there's nothing wrong with her. And then it turned out she had lung cancer. But so for me in that situation, I'm like, well, how can I control that? How can I control every situation that a doctor can't get it wrong? But I'm not a trained doctor, and 10-year-old Sophie certainly isn't a trained doctor. So that's what it is. I can't let a 10-year-old dictate to me anymore, and I need her to be quiet if she pipes up. Now I only got 5 minutes with her, because obviously there was other people queuing and it was in a lunch break. But that is like a very quick summary of it. That was my trigger, and that's what I need to work from. You know, me not wanting to leave the house was a symptom. Me, you know, how I felt not wanting to live anymore, that was a symptom of this trigger, of this one moment that changed my life. For 15 years that ruled my life, all by a 10-year-old. I put myself under a lot of pressure, and every morning, every night, throughout the day, I can constantly feel this pressure in my head. And since I walked out of that room yesterday, I haven't felt that pressure. Because when 10-year-old Sophie was trying to cope with losing her grandparents, this sounds weird that I'm referring to myself as 10-year-old Sophie, but when she created this plan of my life, I remember walking around Tesco's with my mum, and I remember saying to my mum, I'm going to get my GCSEs, and then I'm going to get my A-levels, and then I'm going to go to uni, and I'm going to get the top grade that I can get at uni, which I did. But I was like, that's what I'm going to get, and then I'm going to get engaged at 24, and then I'm going to get married at 26, because then my parents can be there to see me get married, because my grandparents aren't. It sounds like I'm killing off my parents, but this is what's going on in my head. And then I'm gonna have kids by 28, and then I'm probably gonna have 4 kids. So 4 kids is the number we're gonna go for, Sophie. We're not gonna do like you're having 4 kids and you're gonna get married by 26. And I have lived my life by a 10-year-old. Like if a 10-year-old child came up to me and said, you're gonna get married by this date and you're gonna do that, I'd obviously be like, is this child for real? But I still let 10-year-old Sophie put that pressure on me. And only up until yesterday evening, when I walked out that room, have I been able to tell her to shut the hell up. And I feel good. And I actually apologised to my boyfriend, because for a very long time I was like, we need to get married by this date. And I don't feel that pressure anymore. And it's actually thanks to the Speakmans, because they brought something to my attention that I think for a very long time, especially recently, I felt so exhausted, like mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. I just thought, I'm just existing and I'm not living, and that's no way to be. I can't live my life like that anymore. And it sounds so ridiculous, and people are probably going to watch this and be like, well, you know, that 4-minute conversation can't change your life. But it wasn't just a 4-minute conversation, it was the whole day. But that 4-minute conversation put everything into perspective for me. I couldn't keep making excuses. I couldn't keep talking about, oh, this is why I have it. I don't want to touch too much on everything they spoke about because, you know, it's their stuff, and I would recommend you going and hear it from their mouth. I probably won't say it exactly how they said it, but their videos, they have a YouTube channel, I've seen some stuff on it. I recommend doing it, and it will change your life, because I think we like to fit into boxes. And if someone says to you, yeah, you've got anxiety. I got told I have anxiety with severe OCD due to grief, which, you know, I put myself, okay, well, I am, yeah, that's what I have, that is me. And I'm not saying I don't have it, but it doesn't define me. And especially when I was saying to people, I'm scared to go to the doctors, I'm scared to do this, because I don't know myself without anxiety. It's going to be a long road ahead. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. I was making up excuses because I was told that I fit in this box, and this is me in this box, and we have anxiety and it takes a long time to get fixed, and you'll probably need medication, and you know, it's just not going to work. And that's not the case, because I thought, you know what, fuck that, get rid of that. I'm not in that box, and I'm going to do this my way, and I'm going to change my schemas, and I'm going to tell 10-year-old Sophie to shut up. But she does not dictate my life, and that's where I am now. I had the best sleep I think I've had in 15 years. I closed my eyes and I didn't worry. Things that have happened in the last 24 hours that would have made me anxious, that would have made me have an anxiety attack, I haven't. And I will be leaving my house soon, and that is going to be the real test. My battery's going to die now. So I probably will do another one of these videos. I have picked up their DVD and their CD for my car. I also have this, which is How to Be Happy with the Speakmans, which I'm going to read. And you also get like a plan your future. And I feel sorry that this is all like sped up because my battery was flashing at me. But I really like this, and I'm going to finish with this. Life always offers you a second chance, and it's called tomorrow. And that's what I'm going to do. That is a long description of my anxiety, my OCD, and my experience with the Speakmans. But I probably will touch on this in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, of how it's gone so far. So yeah. Hopefully new Sophie is about to start her life now. Thank you for watching. Bye.